welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be filming my 2024 planning and goals video. I've got my laptop with me and I also have this piece of paper that I wrote a bunch of information on, and that's basically it. So we've got a lot to do. I actually wrote out a whole to-do list on my laptop, so I'm actually going to tell you what we'll be kind of planning. So usually I don't attempt to do something like this, but I think this year, or 2024 really, because I'm entering uni and like it's a whole new kind of experience for me. I don't really know what to expect. So I thought the best way to go about this was to try and just like understand what I needed to know and what would be like reasonable as well as suitable for me in general. We're going to be doing a vision board. I never do vision boards. The only time I really do them is when I'm like forced to do them, or like mood boards for the month if I feel like it. But for a whole year I never do one because obviously I change within the year, so I don't really know what to expect. But I think putting my overall kind of like goals on there would be pretty cool. So we're gonna try and make a vision board, and I want to turn that into maybe a background and just have that there because that'd be so cool. Also, it's December 14th when I'm filming this, so we have like 15 days basically until the end of the month, and that is so exciting because I cannot wait. I am so excited for the new year, but I'm also so scared because I still literally don't know what I'm doing. Like, I am not ready to go to uni. I don't know what I want to do in uni. I still have not chosen a degree as we speak. But anyhow, we're just gonna give it a go and we'll see how 2024 goes. I'm really happy and I like have a good feeling that 2024 is gonna be a really good year. But I feel like everyone says that because it's the new year, but like sincerely I feel like it will be really good for my business in general because it's going to be the first year that we start publishing, even though I established it this year. But it's going to be my first year publishing and I can't wait to see what that brings because it's going to be so cool, and it's like a bunch of little firsts all in one, so it's going to be fun. But yes, we're going to be creating a vision board. We're also going to brainstorm a word of the year. Now I usually never did this, but I started doing it recently because I started watching all of these like reset videos and planning videos from the YouTubers I like to watch, and I didn't actually know this was a thing until I started watching those videos because I never watched those types of videos beforehand. So it was kind of cool and I was like, okay. And then I started doing it for a bit. I did it for like the months as well, and like it just became extremely fun and I actually liked it. So yeah, we shall go with that. And usually I would do a quote of the month, but I think we're also going to do a quote of the year. I'm also going to be doing my lovely monthly letters. So I know it's a bit weird, I'm like pre-doing everything, but I know I'm not going to have time next year because my course, the one I want to get into if I can, even though I haven't really decided, I've kind of like just navigated towards it. If I get that course, it's extremely demanding from what I've been told, and a lot of students apparently drop out halfway. So I mean, I want to like try to mitigate all that stress, and I am definitely someone who's like really rigid in planning. I'm not really spontaneous. I'm a little flexible when it comes to plans, but most of the time like I like my plan followed to the T. So with that being said, I'm gonna try my best to like get everything done ahead of time. And that would include writing all the monthly letters, and I'm just going to base them on the goals that I set for the month, and we shall see how that goes. Instead of doing a letter on the first midpoint and last day of the month, I'm just going to do a letter for the first and last day of the month because I feel like that's a lot easier and more manageable, especially now. And while it's cute getting letters every now and then from myself, I don't want to overwhelm myself now with so much planning because who knows what would happen. So there's that. And another thing I do with my yearly planning is I do something called hopes, aspirations, plans, and dreams. Let's focus on 2024 because that is now our new plan. I'm just adding something to my list that I remembered I had to do, so bear with me. Anyhow, so we're gonna get started. But before we do that, let's talk about my business because it's gonna be a major part of 2024. Okay, so for my business plans, I have decided that I need to update my plan for 2024. Also, if that is just an ice pack I'm using right now. But we're gonna get started with business plans. I'm gonna lock my laptop so it does not run out of battery. But anyhow, so I kind of broke this up based on like how possible it is and like what I'm anticipating will happen during these years and in my life in general. So between 2024 and 2027, so 3 years basically, I'm gonna aim to publish, hopefully at the end of those 3 years, 15 poetry books. No fiction books. I'm not gonna plan on any novels because, first of all, that's gonna be the period of when I'm in uni. And as we all know, uni is a bit much and it can be a lot. I'm also doing a double degree, so that's gonna be a lot more pressure than just a single degree course. But anyway, we're gonna continue focusing. So basically, I will be in uni, most likely doing professional development for teaching if I do get into that course. If not, it may differ, but there will usually be like a professional development kind of like portion in the degree where you go do something similar to an internship, but you don't get paid basically. It's just to build experience and all of that. And I'm about to graduate basically at the end of 2027, potentially early 2028. And who knows, I'm also considering doing a teaching job, like as a part-time thing, as well as doing YouTube and content creation and writing like part-time as well, because I did not plan on doing this full-time. It was just never in my plan, and who knows, maybe that might change in the future, but as of now, I don't plan on it being that way. So I would love to do like tutoring jobs or like just work as a tutor in general, maybe a support teacher, who knows, we shall see. But basically my degree is 4 years, so when I checked the calendar, apparently it said I will be like close to graduation, so we'll go with that. But anyhow, back to this. Yes, so the plan is to only publish poetry until I'm out of uni. There's construction happening outside again. So if it's a bit loud, I apologize for the audio. But yes, so that's basically what I envision to happen in the next 3 years of life. And of course, we never know what's going to happen. I may have like some other things come up in those 3 years. I may have like more jobs. I may apply for other things. I may have switched degrees for all we know. But if we're going with the degree that I really want to do, which is a Bachelor's of Economics and Master's of Secondary that was really bad. Which is a Bachelor of Economics and Master's of Secondary Teaching in Economics and Business Studies, then that is going to be really busy. It's going to be a lot, and also I'm going to have to learn how to lesson plan and everything, so it probably won't be the best to like focus on fiction, novels, anything of that sort in that time period. And I would write novellas, but I've heard they don't do as well, so we probably will have to hold out. Well, I don't know what's going to really happen in like the whole time span of things in life. I also put down like potential expenses that I need to incur and like account for. So that includes purchasing ISBNs, and I'm not sure if this is the same in every other country, but for Australia, you also have to register before you can purchase ISBNs. So you have to register your imprint name and everything. So I need to do that, which has a fee, and that's an extra expense I need to take care of, but it's just like a one-time fee, thankfully. And of course, another expense is covers and editors, proof copies, any like merch or signed copies of books that you want to do for like little signing events or like marketing promos, etc. And then because I'm using Ingram Spark, which I know is both loved and hated in this entire community, I am going to be using Ingram Spark because it's just easier for authors in Australia in general to get their books out. So that's my main reason for it, and also like makes tax stuff a lot simpler. You have to pay for revisions, which I'm pretty sure you don't have to do for Amazon. but that is what it is. And yeah, that's basically all I need to remember for like the first 3 years. And I'm actually going to focus on growing my business in the first 3 years. So that's why I'm trying to publish 15 poetry books. And that means I'm going to aim for an average of 5 books per year. So that shall be interesting. But of course, if things get challenging, then I can obviously slow down. But I just want to focus on growing my business in the first 3 years. So for my 5-year plan from 2024 to 2029, I want to try and publish in total 21 poetry books by then. So that includes the 15 previously published. So that means in 2 years, I want to try and publish another 6 books basically. And potentially after graduating from uni, I may consider publishing fiction books. Now, this is a big potential like avenue. Obviously, I want to publish my romance novels because that is technically what I started off as, like in my writing career. So it feels weird I'm kind of publishing poetry first, but poetry is a lot more manageable and it's like, I guess, less time consuming and less, I guess, dreadful in the whole scheme of things. Poetry is like subjective. Like I understand like you can get a lot of hate and criticism for it, but honestly I feel like having that go through first, because it'll be easier to learn the publishing process, learning the entire writing and editing process, learning marketing strategies and what works, etc. Like you just learn everything a lot faster because it's a lot less usually than like when you're writing a whole fiction book. But I'm still going to be doing like novel writing and everything because I just want to like kind of build up a backlist, and that's just easier with poetry in my opinion, and for me personally at my writing speed because I do write incredibly slowly. So yeah, but I'm planning on publishing at least 3 fiction books after I graduate in like 2028, depending on which uni I do end up going to, because every uni has like a different timestamp for their degree. Some is 5, some is 3, some is 4. I don't really know. Right now the degree I want is 4 years, so we shall see how that goes at in the end. But anyway, so things to consider in life. I will probably be teaching and or working at that point. So if I do get my teaching degree, I will be obviously teaching. But if I do another degree and I'm not doing the one I want and I'm doing like a separate teaching degree, then I'm probably going to have a part-time job, let's be realistic, while I'm probably still studying for my Masters of Teaching if I do not get the degree I want. Now, I feel like this is pretty confusing, so I'm just going to break down what my degree options are. So I have one degree option, which is a double degree, and it is in Bachelor of Eco and Masters of Teaching. That is one degree together. And then I have the other option, which is to do a double degree or a single degree in economics and or art, and then get my Masters of Teaching after that. And to do my Bachelor of Economics, that is 3 to 4 years depending on which uni I go to. But since I got accepted into a uni for Bachelor of Arts and Economics, that's a 4-year degree in total. I get 2 degrees at the end of it, and then on top of that I have to do a Masters of Secondary Teaching, and that's another 2 years. So in general, I'm going to be spending 6 years in uni, which exceeds the 5-year plan. So that could potentially mean I'm still studying by that time, which I really hope I'm not, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future and at the end of things. So another thing I want to consider in the next 5 years is to start saving up for a mortgage, which is a loan that you take out to buy a house or a property in general. Now, for me, I would love to have my own house. Like, that would be so fun, and I would love to like just decorate it, I guess. That's probably the only thing. But also, like, I want my own like designated filming space, because right now I just film in my bedroom, and every now and then I'll be like out of the bedroom and like film in the living room and like somewhere else. Like, it's really not many places. I would love to like have my own house, mostly for independence reasons, but also like just because I want to get into like different markets when it comes to investments and like building that kind of portfolio. Like if I'm learning economics, obviously these things are going to come into my head naturally. Like it just becomes something you want in the end. Will I end up using the stock market? It's a different story, but definitely I want to get into the property market. And of course, you need to repay your student loan. So it is very common to not pay your entire degree in full in Australia. Most of us do take out a student loan, and my degree, I don't even know how it's calculated, but for my degrees, they're pretty expensive. And for 1 year, it's like almost $20,000. So obviously 4 to 6 years, that's gonna add up pretty much. I could literally be paying that degree off for like the next 10 years of my life, literally. But anyhow, so obviously I want to start saving up for mortgage if possible, well actually not really it's literally going to be focusing on completely paying off my student loan. And I've heard people refer to this as student debt, but I don't really like the sound of it, so I prefer calling it a loan. I don't know, just business preferences really. So paying that off, it's going to be my main priority in the next 5 years, which obviously is not going to happen because there is like a set fixed percentage that you can pay off without incurring a fee. So it's a bit of a whole process in itself, just like paying off a loan, which is annoying, but it is what it is. So I want to try and pay that off as much as I can, which is going to probably not come out to a really big total. It's probably going to be quite little, but I mean, as long as it's paid off, right? So I want to start repaying that and start saving for mortgage. I'm not so sure if that's going to go so well, but like I'm going to probably like split those. But paying off the student loan is definitely going to be priority 1, and then mortgage saving up is going to be a priority 2 when it comes to finances. And also, the only reason I'm studying a Bachelor of Economics is because I needed to get into a Master's of Behavioral Economics, which is a specialist area that I actually want to enter into. It is a bit confusing to explain, but basically it's like combining psychology, commerce, actuarial studies. I don't know if I said psychology, but that too. But yeah, basically it's like a whole analysis of a bunch of things in like consumer activity and trends. I feel like I'm explaining this terribly. I'll probably just pop up like a giant picture of like what it actually is. So yeah, I want to consider probably enrolling in a Master's of Behavioral Economics, which is what I am aiming to do. And that of course is another 2-year degree, but I'm not so sure if I'm actually going to end up doing it. That's the main issue. And of course, potential expenses that may incur from this part is editors for my fiction books, because it will be quite expensive, obviously, to get a whole like 100,000 word novel edited. And of course you want to get your copy edits and proofreading done as well, so it's a bit much, and I understand how expensive that can be in the long run, but it will pay off in the end, hopefully. And maybe considering making audiobooks, but I really doubt that will be happening because I don't envision it happening anytime soon, or focusing on producing any audiobooks anytime soon either. And now we can move on into the 10-year plan from 2024 to 2034, which I feel so weird saying that, like it does not sound real. But basically, I would have liked to publish at least 50 poetry books by that entire time in total. Now, it's a bit of an ambitious goal because I didn't like how uneven the numbers were getting. So I was like, let's just round it up to 50 because it looks prettier. So that's why it's there. It was actually meant to be like 36. But I decided to add on the extra like 14 because it looked prettier. So there's that. But in my mind, it's like the idea of like a better, best. I think I messed that up. Good, better, best, something like that. Goal system. But yeah, it would be so cool if I had 50 poetry books published by then. But like realistically, it's probably not gonna happen. I feel like 36 would be the most, because that was kind of like the trajectory of everything. But it would be so cool, and I had to write in brackets, if financially possible, to have published 9 fiction books total in that time. So the only reason I put financially possible is if by that time I had paid off my student loan and also started like repay my mortgage. Of course, financial commitments, you want to pay off the debt first. So I don't want to invest it into fiction books if I don't have to, because I love writing poetry. I find it's a lot easier for me to write than a fiction book, but I do have, like, I guess, avenues for both in the end. So yeah, that's the only reason why fiction books aren't really my priority right now. Maybe it will change, but also another reason is if I do consider to continue with my Masters of Behavioral Economics, that's another loan I have to repay, which is going to be extremely expensive as well. But anyhow, let's go into the life stuff of 2024 to 2034. So obviously I will probably have my first degree by then, and I will be teaching and or working by that time. And if I had to do the longer version of 6 years in school, I will still end up teaching at the end of the day, because that is the plan for me, and I do want to be a teacher. So I'm going to focus on doing that. The only reason I'm studying a Master's of Behavioral Economics is because I want to, and also because it like broadens my, I guess, opportunities. It's a bit confusing, but generally I was told and strongly advised against studying a Bachelor of Economics. I don't really understand why, but according to everyone that I spoke to, the main reason for me to not study it was because it restricted me in opportunities for jobs. So I was advised to go into a Bachelor of Business or Bachelor of Commerce and then just major in economics, but I didn't really feel like I would get the same value. And when I did look at those courses, I didn't have the same specialist areas I could like experiment in. So it was a lot harder for me to like make that decision of should I go into a commerce degree or just a straight up eco degree. Obviously I'm going into the straight up eco degree at this point, so it's a bit late now, but I still haven't made a full decision. I still have time to decide, so who knows, maybe I'll end up switching to a commerce degree. But my plan is to do a Bachelor of Economics regardless, somehow, or major in it if it comes to that. But we can continue. So obviously, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't know if I'm going to actually continue studying or if I'm just going to completely end up working at this point. But I wrote teaching and or working. And then I would love to get a Bachelor of Arts and Commerce. Now, this is like potentially a future thing. I don't see it. If it happens in the next 10 years, it happens. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, that's a whole other student loan thing I have to do. And I don't really think spending so much money on that much just to get like 2 degrees again is like gonna be what I want to do. But it is what it is. So who knows? Maybe I might do it, but maybe I won't. I feel like at this rate, it literally just seems like I'm working and studying like forever. Because I know it seems a bit extensive, but I want to teach in multiple areas, but it's really hard to do that if you don't have like the degree or like the skills to do it. And obviously to get a degree, that costs money. So then you need finances to do that, and you have to cover all those costs and everything else. So obviously it's a bit much. And I understand why some people only stick to 1 degree. I do end up getting my Master's in Behavioral Eco and or Bachelor in Arts and Commerce. That is a whole student loan thing that I have to figure out, and that's why I wrote it financially possible, because you would still be paying off your mortgage. The mortgage usually lasts about 30 years, and that doesn't sound fun. But that's the main reason why I want to try and get it young, because that means I don't have to stress as much about it when I get into my later years of life. Because, okay, this is going to be so crazy, but there's this theory in economics. It's called the life cycle of income theory, where basically when you're young you have this savings, and then when you hit your midlife you're in savings and like you're saving up for your retirement and everything, and then once you hit your retirement age you're back into your savings. So basically the savings is just like money that your parents have, and your savings in general when you're retired from your superannuation. I'm not sure if that's the same for every country, but it's compulsory in Australia. So basically it just helps alleviate the government from like pensions and transfer payments. Okay, I put these both in question marks. So in the next 10 years, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to be like 29 at the end of 2020, wow, at the end of 2034. So who knows? Maybe I would have been in a relationship, maybe I would have been married. Who would know what's going to happen in the future? And then there's also the consideration of will we have kids or not, if that ever happens. I personally don't know. I personally don't really care. I just like, I'm at this point, I feel like I've entered the stage of life of whatever happens, happens, and I'm just gonna go with it. So yeah, that's what we've got going on. And so if I'm working my teaching job by now, in theory, I can still tutor externally, like build up another, like, I guess, source of income. But if I'm not doing that, that's completely fine. I can work on my business again and like spend more time and energy on like YouTube and my books. But I did put question mark for tutoring externally because who knows, maybe I might quit my tutoring job in the end. And of course, we're going back to the business considerations of, will I hire employees and or contractors? Probably will. Let's be realistic, because you can't do everything yourself. Sometimes you just have to accept it. And do I want to expand? And by expanding, I mean, do I want to buy a studio apartment for my business so that I have like a designated filming space, if you know what I mean? Because if I do end up having kids and or getting married, I don't want to accidentally invade that person's space, because I would feel bad. So there's that. But other than that, a few other things, like avenues I want to consider would be maybe like designing planners or to-do lists, because that's always been one of my passions and I've always loved designing things like that. Like, I don't know, I don't want to study graphic design, but I absolutely love learning about it. So who knows, maybe we'll create a little writing based planner, because I actually really want to do that. And maybe goal setting planners. I don't know if I'm actually going to go through with this one, because I know it's really high in competition, so who knows, but I don't want to let that stop me. But then again, I want to think of something that differentiates my product from every other product that is basically in existence. And then of course we have some interesting ideas when it comes to character art merch. So there obviously can be like calendars, shirts, tote bags, etc. and all of those fun things. But once again, that's like the audiobooks. It's only a financial decision if I can support it financially. And also I want my business to be able to support itself at that stage. Like after 10 years, it would be so cool if my business can fully support itself. And of course, if it doubles my income or like just makes my income a lot higher, that would be so beneficial and I would be super grateful for it. But obviously that is just like a dream come true. But as of now, my focus is going to be growing a little business and just building my audience, because you can't literally have anything without having a community first. And I'm not just saying that because I was taught that, but I sincerely believe, I can't even speak, oh my gosh, but I sincerely believe in the fact that having a community, regardless of how small it is always going to be how you grow and prosper at the end, because the community builds you, not the other way around. Anyhow, so that was the little business and life plan stuff. But now we get to actually plan for 2024.
I'm a little nervous about the whole trip, though. Why? There's no need to be nervous. I'm kind of worried about making mistakes. I don't know anything about Japan. Don't worry, everything's going to be fine.
I know I said this in a previous clip where I would not leave my entire planning and filming of this video until the last day of the year. And guess what? It's the 31st of December once again, and it's currently 10:18 p.m. and literally just like last year I did this as well. So let's quickly run through the 2024 goals I have, but before we do that, let's reflect on 2023. Okay, so if you do hear any loud noises, fireworks are currently happening, and also all my neighbors are having like parties, so it's gonna be really noisy, and hopefully you can still hear me on top of all of that. But basically in 2023, I told myself, I remember distinctly saying this to myself, that I want to start to move away from number-based goals. And it's gonna be kind of funny because everything basically is a number-based goal here. So let's get started. So for 2023, I set 10 goals. And that was to read 100 books, but I said that every year, so it's kind of like pretty basic at this point. And no, I didn't even read 10 books this year. I was so like, I wouldn't say in a reading slump per se, but it was more like I was really busy with HSC, graduation, finding a uni, figuring out my degree and everything, that I did not have the time to read as much as I planned to or wanted in general. So I did not hit that goal at all, failed miserably. Goal number 2 was to finish Project Belonging for publication, and I have actually made a lot of different plans to my writing career since then, and that has not happened, and it will not be happening for like probably the next 10 years. Goal number 3 is to finish the entire poetry collection. Now when I'm saying poetry collection, I mean a series of 10 books, and I didn't even touch this book series at all this year. I feel like I only worked on it back in 2022, and I never like looked back, haven't seen it, have not touched the document, have not opened that folder in general on my laptop. So did not do that goal as well. And as we continue going down, you're going to realize I didn't do a lot of these goals, but some of the other things I did set out at the start of the year, I did actually end up doing, and I'm really proud of myself for. So goal number 4 is to plan a potential book series, and that was the Christmas series I started working on back in NaNoWriMo, and I actually didn't do NaNoWriMo like as consistently as I wished I did, because I did have a lot of things going on in November. I had trips, my birthday, and a bunch of like outings, so it just really derailed my entire writing plan and schedule for that month, and I did not end up planning the entire book series, but book 1 is like a third of the way planned for in general. So it's going well, but who knows, maybe that's a 2024 project, maybe it's not. But I don't plan on publishing any novels anytime soon, so I'm not really so worried or stressed about it. Goal number 5 was to exercise daily. Now this was before I realized how my schedule was going to completely change, and now I can't really do that, and I realize it's not as feasible as it used to be back in like the past, where it was like 2021, 2020, 2022 even. But 2023 was a lot harder to do this goal, and I just realized I had to start slowing down and actually like taking more care of my health in like other areas rather than just the physical athletic side. Goal number 6 was to write a short story every week. I failed this goal, and within the first week I completely forgot I had said it, and it was a lot harder than I anticipated for it to be. I did try to get back onto it in April, did not do that well, and things just kept pushing that goal back, and I never ever made it happen. So I kind of learned my lesson from that goal, and I think I know what I want to do moving forward in 2024 and for future years. So another goal I also set was to drink 5,000 milliliters of water a day. I don't know what possessed me to first of all do that. Secondly, what made me think I would be able to do it. And finally, why I would want to somehow force myself to consume that much water every single day. So there were a lot of problems with that goal, clearly, and I think I came like 3,000 milliliters was probably the closest, and I just in the end kind of like threw that goal away because like it was not feasible, and it was probably less healthy than it should have been intended to be. Number 8 was to do something for myself daily. I want to say I was pretty good at this like at the start of the year, then I kind of lost it a bit in like April to maybe July, but towards the end of the year around my graduation, so about like September-ish, I definitely got a lot better with this goal, and I definitely progressed a lot more with it, and I'm actually gonna count that as technically a success, even though I did have this giant 3-month gap where I didn't really do much. Goal number 9 is to complete 3 drafts of my Hallmark project, Incentivators. Once again, this is a fiction book or novel, and I did not end up doing this. I don't even remember that project sometimes. It just sits on my laptop and I don't even touch it, don't even look at it really. And yeah, I just kind of forgot about it in this, I guess, grand scheme. And goal number 10 was pretty spontaneous, but I wanted to give it a go anyway, and you know, maybe it might have happened, but we did fall a little short, and if I did stick to my original timeline and publishing plan, then I would have been able to publish my book, my poetry book, Project Poetry, which you guys have definitely been following along for the entire journey of. And who knows, maybe I could have published that book this year, but it just did not end up happening. Timelines did not end up colliding, and a lot of things happened that I would not have wanted to trade just to have published a book earlier. Plus, I want the book to be the best it can be, and if that means coming out in 2024, then so be it. So with my yearly planning, I also do goals as well as something called hopes, aspirations, plans and dreams, where I list a few things that I hope to happen in 2020 whatever, aspire to create in whatever the year is, plans I want to put into motion, and dreams I want to achieve in the year. So for 2023, my 5 hopes I wrote down was to increase business engagement. Little did I know that was not going to happen, because I took a whole different approach to my brand idea that I originally had. And here we are with a whole new brand that I did not anticipate on creating reels. So this was the first time I wanted to experiment with like Instagram reels. Don't know why I didn't do this earlier when it like first came out, but I felt like the whole idea of creating a reel did terrify me back then. So it was definitely a fun little 2023 experiment. Number 3 was to get an award, like an end of high school award, and I did. I actually got 2, and that was 2nd place in extension to English and Society and Culture. Number 4 was to grow my self-esteem and confidence. That definitely progressed a lot faster towards the end of the year, and I'm really happy it did. So I'm really happy with that little hope being accomplished. Number 5 was to develop my current relationships, and I think I definitely learned a lot more about myself and what I want from my relationships and like friendships in general. So I would count that as a success. The aspirations I want to achieve in 2023 was to have more joy in my life. I'm very structured, and this kind of relates to the next aspiration, which is I want more spontaneity and flexibility in my routine. I realized that wasn't for me, and finding joy for me is to know what I want and like just having things, I wouldn't say necessarily under my control, but knowing that certain things are going to happen at certain times for certain reasons. And it just gives me joy knowing that everything is going to plan in a way, and everything that I've worked towards is actually going to come back to me in like a good, positive way. And finally, the 3rd aspiration I had set for 2023 is I want to cultivate kindness, compassion, and love around me. So coming out of 2022, I was definitely a lot happier and in a much more positive headspace, but there were a lot of things that also happened during the year in 2022 that I didn't want to really like have as a negative energy around me. So I really tried to focus on like, I guess, blocking that out and just finding peace and happiness within my circumstances and just, you know, living life, because it's kind of pretty short at this point. And I feel like as I grow older, I appreciate my life more, and I stop wanting like unnecessary things that I think will bring me satisfaction, and just focus on creating satisfaction myself. Okay, so my plans for 2023, they're kind of funny now that I look back at them, and so ambitious, but that's something with me and my goal planning. I'm never like realistic or smart about them. So my plans for 2023 was to create a list of possible universities to apply to. I definitely did, and I got into every single one except a uni that I ended up declining the interview for because I did not want to go there in the end. Not that I really accepted all the other unis I got accepted into either way, but I am now in my dream uni, so I guess it will work out for the best. Number 2 was develop a study routine. I still don't have one. Did not work out. I literally don't know. Like, I have a method that works for me, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a routine or something sustainable. Number 3 was to take 5 days off a month. I tried. I really tried. I failed within January. I could not do it. I feel like towards the end of the year, this definitely got a lot easier and I accepted it a lot more. But at the start, it was just hard because it's like you're first starting off building your entire brand. You want to put in as much effort as possible before you launch it. You want everything to be perfect. So maybe I was just horrified that something was going to go wrong in the launch. But in the end, everything worked out for the best. And I'm just learning to accept that I can't control everything. Okay, so number 4 was to engage in 100 classes or skills that will help either my career or my future. I think I definitely tried like really hard every single month to do this, but I only ended up completing one entire class like externally from school this entire year, and it definitely helped. it was really interesting and it will definitely help my career in the future. So I don't mind. It may not be 100, but at least I have a skill under my belt now. And finally, my final plan for 2023 was to promote my friends' businesses. I was very good at this at the start of the year. Then around, I think it was April, I started to slow down and kind of take into account on what was actually like a reasonable workload for me and what was actually worth my time, because I was definitely just pumping out a bunch of content for them. And there was like, obviously they're my friends, so I'm not going to charge them. But there was definitely like very little satisfaction or reward I was getting towards the end of the month in April. And that's when I think I realized that I needed to slow down. I need to reevaluate why I'm doing this and what this is actually going to be useful for in the future. Because I did start this out initially to work on my social media skills, such as like video editing, copywriting, etc. Because I was planning on going into the social media marketing kind of industry and world in general, but that did change. I'm now going to teaching and economics, so who knows, maybe one day I'll find myself back in the social media marketing world. But as of now, I don't really see this happening a lot in the future, and I definitely want to take more time to focus on what I want to do and what I see myself doing in the future. And finally, the last category we have for 2023 to discuss is my dreams category. And I put 3 dreams down, and that was to do something that makes me smile daily. I feel like during the harder days, this was a lot hard to remember to do, but I was pretty successful at the goal, so I'm happy with it. The second one was to learn to accept the good and bad things. I definitely did a lot better, and I definitely hit this towards like the end of November. So I'm really happy that actually worked out for me. And finally, to understand that nothing is ever perfect. And I am such, I wouldn't say necessarily a perfectionist, but like I'm on borderline perfectionist. So I definitely did learn this the hard way, to say the least. And that was through my major work projects for my Extension 2 English and Society and Culture course. And I think that was when it really hit me that nothing can ever be perfect. And sometimes a deadline is a deadline for a reason. And I think that really helped me get like over the fear of perfection. But just knowing that I could do what my best was at the time was good enough for me. But that is basically 2023 in a wrap. And I would say overall it was a pretty good year. I was actually really happy with how things were. I did graduate from high school, I got a job, I literally started my business, built a whole new brand. There's like so many things to be happy for this year, and I literally cannot wait to see what 2024 brings. But without further ado, let's move on into my goals, plans, hopes, aspirations, and dreams for 2024. Okay, so unlike my goals for 2023, I broke this up a lot more into categories. So for my yearly goals, we have a personal, health, business, and creative category. So if you've watched some of my like monthly goal planning videos, you would be kind of familiar with the structure. But this year for my business goals, I don't know why I said that. For my personal goals, I wanted to once again read 100 books. My friend and I are actually also doing this. So the next goal is to read the Bible. The entire Bible, and we did actually find this like 365-day reading plan, and also the app we're using does give us different plans on how like much we want to read or like how quickly we want to finish the Bible. But we're probably going to stick with the 365 one, just because we don't want to overwhelm ourselves, because we're both just trying to like, I guess, get back into the whole like religious kind of like world in a way. I don't know why we've been doing this. I can't remember. All I know is that it started off when I was just telling her a video idea I had, and it kind of spiraled really quickly from there. But yes, so I want to read 100 books, and we both want to read the Bible this year. So we shall see how that goes, and I can't wait to see how that starts literally in an hour and 25 minutes. Okay, so learning from my entire fail of the 100 classes thing, this year I want to try and do 50 classes. So we shall see how this goes. Hopefully it works out for the best, and hopefully I actually stick to it this time. So Next one is to do weekly affirmations, and I actually already pre-planned all of this. I have this entire folder on my laptop that I literally just created an affirmation background for each week, and I'll just swap it out. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how this goes, but basically it's just a bunch of like personal self-love, self-growth, nurturing, acceptance, trust, even like weekly affirmations. So we shall see how this goes. Hopefully this brings a lot more joy and happiness. And this is one I used to do so often. I actually used to do a lot of drawing and painting. I did take art classes for quite a few years, and I kind of fell out of love with it. So in 2023, I remember back in January, my best friend basically told me that I should start drawing again. And I was like, I'm so out of it. I don't even remember how to draw like anything. So we started going through Pinterest. We found a bunch of these easy drawing things, and the entire year I spent pinning a bunch of things to that board, but I never ended up drawing any of them. So for 2024, I want to create art weekly, and I don't want to limit myself just to drawing, painting, sculpting, clay, anything like that. I also want my art to also be written, because that is the art form I most enjoy, and I also want to just like, I guess, keep a part of that creativity alive and just renew it every week if possible, because you'll hear soon, but in my business goals there's going to be quite a lot of things going on, so I do want to keep the creativity going as much as possible. This is something I want to try. Actually, my mentor told me to do this, but she told me to do it daily, and I felt like that was a bit hard. So we're going to be doing it weekly, and that is weekly reflections. And basically that just means like reflecting on the week every Sunday or Monday, and just like seeing how things are going. And it'll be kind of interesting to see where my headspace is at in general. I do try to do this more daily, but we'll have to progress there, because I don't want to push myself back to doing it daily and just like struggling it all over again. And I don't know why there's a helicopter going on right now. But anyway, moving on to the final goal in the personal category. It is to write an album with 7 songs. I absolutely love songwriting. I really enjoy it. But I don't necessarily see myself becoming a singer-songwriter anytime soon, if at all. So for 2024, I think I just want to write an album. Just see if I like it or not, because I write all of these different songs, but they're all like singles in a way. So who knows, it'll be fun to give myself a bit of a challenge and just write an album. So I'm giving myself the whole year to see whether or not I like or hate this whole thing. Moving on to my health goals. So for 2024, we're going to try to work out 3 to 5 times a week. We're definitely cutting back a lot, but we're trying to still stay consistent. So hopefully this is going to work out a lot better. I'm also going to be sharing you my exercise plan later on, but you'll understand a little bit more as we continue further down. So I also want to do more self-care days. I realized how much I don't like these days, but how valuable and needed they are. So I'm going to try to do more of these days, even if sometimes that means just not even doing any work whatsoever and just reading for enjoyment, not work, not filming, not reviewing books in general, but just for me, then so be it. But I need to do more of these self-care days, because I need to start to teach myself that rest is needed and rest is important, and to stop myself from working as much, because I know 2024 and from here on out it's going to be a long time with work. Okay, so back with my 2023 goals, I wanted to try to take 5 days off a month. I'm trying to do this again, and this goes back to the whole self-care thing. So who knows? Let's give it a go this year, and let's see how it goes. I'm literally praying that this works. Okay, I absolutely did this like goal really well back in 2021, and that was like meditation for 10 minutes every single day, and I was so good at it. I literally actually completed that goal. I was surprised, but I have since then fallen off the whole meditation thing and just mindfulness in general. So I want to be more mindful. So anyway, in 2024 I want to try to be more mindful at least 3 times a week. So we shall see how that goes. Hopefully we slowly start to build that habit back, and it'll hopefully give me more mental clarity and help with creativity. Okay, so this ties in back to my workout situation that I had, where I started to slowly decline and like how often I did a workout, and I guess finding what was sustainable in a way for me. And I actually stopped doing this. So I used to do a lot of strength and core training related stuff, but I have since stopped and I really just focused on cardio. And I want to say I've noticed like a dip in my performance. So I want to slowly try and start strength training again and just kind of build back the strength I used to have, because I do feel like I'm a lot weaker than I used to be. And the final health goal we have is to do 12 10k runs. I actually really like doing these back in 2021, like just every now and then in the year, but I haven't been able to do one since then. So who knows, maybe we'll just do 12-ish 10k runs, so basically once a month. And who knows, maybe I'll either fall back into love with it or just realize I really end up hating it. But I really doubt that, because running is such a fun hobby for me and I really love it. Moving on to the next category is my business goals. And basically for my business goals, I want to publish 5 books in 2024, but specifically my poetry books. So I'm actually focusing on building like a brand for my poetry right now. So that's why I'm actually not publishing any fiction books for a few years. And now I know I want to try and move away from number-based goals, but I do have a few scattered here and there. So I would love to sell 50 books as like an entire total. I don't really care if one book outsells more than another, but I think for 2024 my goal for books is 50. And I would love to see if that's even possible, because I am still in the phase of building my brand. So we shall see how this goes, and yeah. And another one is to start a shop for my brand. I actually have been focusing a lot and researching into this so much, and I really want to see if I can actually do this, or if it's not for now. Okay, so we had to do a quick location change, but we were in the middle of discussing business goals for 2024, and I want to start a shop for my brand, and basically that's just like merchandise in general for my books. So who knows how that will go. I'm definitely thinking of using like a print-on-demand company, so hopefully I find one I am interested in working with and one I want to work with. So the next goal is to create a writing planner. Also ignore the lovely fireworks going on in the background. So I have been planning on creating a writing planner for like the past 2 years. I never got around to doing it. So who knows, maybe 2024 is the year we finally get around to doing one. And along with the planner for writing, I want to create 5 other planners. So who knows, maybe they will be writing based, maybe they're for authors in general, maybe they're just daily lifestyle planners. I'm not so sure yet, but I love the idea of creating my own planners. Before I actually wanted to become an author, I actually did want to open my own planner business. So I feel like fulfilling that little childhood dream would be really fun. The final business goal we have is to publish weekly pieces on my author website. I used to run a bunch of blogs, so I want to keep something similar from those past blogs I did do, and just publish weekly pieces on my website rather than like do fun challenges like daily posts for a certain amount of time or anything along that line. So we're going to focus on weekly pieces for the entire year of 2024 on my website. And now we get to go into the most complicated and the longest part of my goals, which is always the creative goals. So as we discussed earlier, Project Belonging, I don't really intend on publishing it. If I do, then well, that's a bit of a surprise. Also, these fireworks are getting a bit louder because it's getting closer to midnight and I'm trying to speed this process along. So Project Belonging, I just really want to finish draft 2, read through draft 2 and finish draft 3. I just want to see whether or not I have like a solid enough outline and like I guess structure for this entire book that I may publish it a bit earlier than I anticipated. So who knows, I just want to at least get draft 3 done. And I'm currently sitting on draft 2, so we shall see how this goes, and hopefully we do have time to do Project Belonging, but if not, I'm not really going to be stressed about it, and that goes for like all my fiction books as well. So the next giant goal we have is my Christmas series, and I want to finish planning the entire series, and I actually started writing book 1, but in general I want to finish writing the first draft of every single book, and it's a 4-book series. They're interconnected, so that means this book will have to be published specifically around Christmas. And while I don't intend on publishing it in 2024 or 2025 even, I do want to try and see if we can at least get this book ready for basically publication, but without publishing it. So I might just keep it on the back burner, and I guess just, who knows, maybe use it. There's a mosquito. Apologize for this weird lighting and shadow I'm creating. But yes, I just want to keep the books in the bag and just like know that they're ready to go, because I have been dying to write this idea since July of this year, and I'm so happy that I actually started writing it. And while Christmas did technically just pass about 6 days ago, I feel like it'll be a bit weird if I just leave it until next Christmas to work on it. So I want to keep working on it. I don't want to like just lose the idea in general. Okay, so the next book is actually part of a video experiment I'm currently filming, and I don't intend on this book being out anytime soon. So I'm calling it the comparison book, and I don't know if I mentioned this a lot in other videos, but basically I'm doing a predicted book publishing timeline versus the actual book publishing timeline for a specific book, and that's why we're calling it the comparison book. So I want to see how long it actually takes me, if it takes longer, shorter, or just exactly the same amount of time I collected from a bunch of data sources. So we shall see, but for this book specifically, I want to complete a book outline, write draft 1, read through draft 1, and finish draft 2. So we shall see how that goes, but if I do not get around to doing it, then I'm not going to be so annoyed, because it is kind of a long-term project and a really long video. I don't even know when it's going to be finished. Also, I'm only counting the days I actually work on the book, so it could take a lot longer than we anticipated. Okay, the next project is Project Hallmark, and for that I just want to write my outline. I actually haven't written an outline. I literally just have like the bare bones with the character profiles, the plot, and all of that stuff, but I don't have an outline for the actual book. And then moving on, I have another book that's really similar in title. It's called The Hallmark Project. And basically, I did start the outline, but I never finished it. So I need to complete all of that in 2024. And I did start writing draft 1 as well. And I want to finish draft 1. So the only main difference between Project Hallmark and Hallmark Project are like, I guess, the times they're set in. So the Hallmark Project is set during Christmas. It's another Christmas romance. And Project Hallmark is just like a more general, basic kind of contemporary romance. Okay, moving on to the poetry books I need to write and actually publish during the year, which is Project B. I actually started filming this in a video where it was basically a poetry writing challenge I tried to do, where I tried to write an entire poetry book which had 125 poems in it in 24 hours. And yes, I need to publish Project B. And then another book I want to publish, also poetry, is Project IP. And since I'm aiming to publish 5 poetry books, those 5 are Project Poetry, Project B, Project IP, Project Wishes, and Project Academia, which will all be focused on in 2024. And because I want to try and keep as consistent as possible with my publishing schedule, I want to also write another poetry book called Project Photo and just have that book ready for publication for 2025. So it doesn't have to necessarily come out in 2024, but if it does, then it does. But I do want it to release at least sometime in 2025. And finally, as we discussed earlier in my 2023 reflection portion, with our poetry collection, I want to just create all the book titles, create the blurbs and the poem titles and sections so that we have everything ready to go when I do decide to actually go back and work on that project. But now we get to move into the hopes, aspirations, plans and dreams part of this little 2024 goal planning. So 2024 hopes, we have only 3 this year, and that is to grow my YouTube channel to 100 subscribers. I would be over the moon if we do reach it. I literally don't see this channel growing so quickly because it is pretty niche in the writing community, and then we have the book community and then the lifestyle community in general. So it's kind of like a mix of everything, and it's not really niche down, so it's a lot harder to match with SEO and the algorithm in general. So I necessarily understand how complicated that would be from like an analytics and marketing standpoint. But I want my channel to be a personal brand. I don't want to section myself into one specific community. So I understand that's going to actually affect my growth rate and everything, I guess, in comparison. So it's completely okay. So reaching 100 subscribers would be more than enough for me for this year. The second hope I want to do is to continue developing and maintaining my relationships. Since I am going to be starting uni, it will be very interesting to see if I kind of like go out of my shell a little bit more and just make new friends, because I do know that all my friends are going to other unis, and I have one friend going to the same uni as me, but we're going to be in different classes and courses in general. Furthermore, my final hope for 2024 is to continue building my personal brand and just seeing where it goes in general and takes me. The aspirations, once again, we only have 3. I just actually realized we have 3 hopes, aspirations, plan, and dreams for 2024, so we're narrowing down a lot more. But my aspirations is definitely really similar to 2023. But for 2024, I want to focus more on my interests for myself and not for external validation. I want to bring more joy into my daily life, which is really similar to what I said for 2023. And I want to remember the small moments and wins that happen in 2024 rather than just like big accomplishments, which is like stuff that we all can remember easily. For plans, I want to do something for myself daily. Once again, really similar to the goal I set back in 2023. I want to give myself more rest. Once again, going back to the whole self-care kind of goal that I'm setting. And I plan to focus more on myself and allowing myself to have more energy, because I am really like, I guess, big on encouraging other people, but I don't realize how much of my energy and time I end up giving away to them just to support and like, I guess, help them. And I realize I just don't give myself enough time, because sometimes when I think I'm going to help this person, it's going to be only like 10 minutes. It ends up being like a whole half of my day, and I just never get around to doing what I need to do. So it does mess up my entire schedule, but also it messes up my entire energy and just like, I guess, mindset for the whole day. So I want to try and give myself more time to focus on myself and my energy this year. And finally, my dreams for 2024 is to understand that the things that are meant to happen will, to learn to forgive myself for past mistakes, and to accept that I can only do what I do know at the time. So with that, that's basically what I want to focus on for 2024. And now let's talk about my content schedule for 2024. So on Instagram, I want to try and do daily stories if possible. I'm not going to stick to this as much as I want, and I know that because we do have a cruise coming up in January, and there's absolutely very little service out on the ocean. So it's not going to go that well. And I already know that I can't beat myself up for it because I can't control these kind of circumstances. But I want to post 2 posts and reels weekly. For TikTok, we're going to go back to our daily free posts. And for YouTube, we're doing 3 videos still. And instead of 4 shorts a week, we're going to do 12 shorts. And on my website, as I mentioned earlier, I want to do weekly posts. So for my work schedule for 2024, I set a goal of working 62,880 minutes for 2024 in total. And while this goal that I set seems pretty feasible, the work schedule I created does kind of, I guess, achieve way over. But that's also because I know myself well enough that I know I won't be working this much during the week. So I wanted to over plan anyway, just to be like safe. So in theory, on Monday, I will be working 8 hours, which is 480 minutes. On Tuesday, I will be working 240 minutes, which is 6 hours. Wait, no. 240 minutes is 4 hours. Wednesday, I'm also going to be working 240 minutes for another 4 hours. Thursday is 300 minutes, which is 5 hours. Friday, 240 minutes, 4 hours. Saturday and Sunday, 3 hours each, or 180 minutes. And the total that will give me is 31 hours, or 1,860 minutes. And to hit my 62,880 minutes goal for the year, I have to hit 5,240 minutes every single month. And while this goal will technically already bring me over that, if I don't hit it, which I know I won't most of the time, I'm not gonna be upset because I did over budget my time anyway, so it will hopefully work out for the best. So for 2024, I did create this new exercise plan. It's actually one of my old exercise plans I had from 2020, and I just broke it up into more, I guess, feasible segments. So it's split into 5 days, but I definitely did say I want to try a workout 3 to 5 days, so I'm not going to force myself to do a workout if I don't feel like I can. But for day 1, we're going to be doing 100 squats, 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, and a 10-minute jog or run, depending on how that goes. My hand is seriously struggling right now. Okay, for day 2, we have our 15-minute jog or run, 50 leg lifts, and 5-minute concrete swimming. For day 3, we have 50 mountain climbers on each leg, so 100 in total, 200 jumping jacks, 50 mountain climber plank jacks, and a 20-minute jog or run. You're going to notice that running and jogging is going to be a pretty common theme, but that's also to still be able to hit my 10K running goal of a month. And also because running is my favorite hobby when it comes to like physical activity at the moment, so why not? Okay, for day 4, we have 20 glute bridges, 20 snap jumps, which actually I find really difficult to do, so it's kind of funny that I'm still trying to push myself towards 20. But who knows, maybe one day we can escalate from there. A 1-minute plank, 10 lunges, and 25-minute jog or run. And on day 5, we have 50 high knees each leg, so 100 in total, 100 bicycle crunches, which I actually found out I really enjoy doing, 5-minute yoga, and 30 minutes jog or run. So yeah, that's a little exercise plan. So this will still continue with my cardio and something I'm interested in, as well as help me build my core and strength back, which I have lost since 2021. I'm struggling to remember all the years because everything just feels like a blur at this point. So along with that, let's talk about my word and quote of the year. So for 2023, I did not mention this earlier, but I said the word thrive for the year. And I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to thrive in specifically, but I just knew that I wanted that to be my word. And I guess I can say I achieved it. I did thrive for sure. Maybe not in the way I thought I was going to do at the start of the year, but I did thrive. And I was really happy with it. But for 2024, my word of the year is going to be grow. And I want to grow both physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, business-wise, creativity-wise, and a bunch of other spheres of life. And that just made me struggle to remember what my next line was because I forgot what I was going to say now. But basically, growing is going to be the focus in 2024, and I want to see what happens in a year, because there is a quote that literally says a lot can happen in a year, and I don't want to limit myself this time, so I want to just accept what's going to happen, it will happen, and just like be happy and grateful for every little accomplishment each day and week. And the quote of the year is actually one my friend gave me, and that was, do what makes you happy, not sad. And it seems really cute and simple, and I'm actually going to be really happy to use that as my quote for the year. And yeah, let's just remember to do everything that we want to do and not things that people tell us that we should do. But it is now 11:08 p.m. and I'm still talking and I have not even edited this video yet. I don't know when I'm going to publish this, but it will go up, I promise, on the 1st of January. So, I also created a 2024 vision board, which you did see a bit of the process from in a time lapse. But basically, this is my final lovely little, I guess, I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm just going to pop it up on the screen anyway. So this is my little vision board wallpaper for the year. And I also created a bunch of different vision boards, not vision boards, daily backgrounds, which I'm going to actually just show you here because it's a lot of effort to like, I guess, put up. But basically it's all my weekly affirmations, and as you can see, it's just basically the affirmation on like a little background. So as you can see, very simple, nothing too fancy. And yeah, there's 52 of them, so I will switch it out every single week. That is all we have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing what my goals and plans are. Let me know what your 2024 goals are and what you want to focus on, as well as your word of the year. And that is basically it. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2024. Stay healthy, stay happy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.